Hello and welcome to another edition of Classroom Chronicle. I'm your host, Pete Braley. This is one of my favorite episodes to do every year. We've done it, I think, every year except for the pandemic years. And that is where we get to meet the area valedictorians. We get to find out who they are, what they're all about, and their plans for the future. We start out with an interesting situation this year from Bishop Stang. They actually have co-valedictorians. So let me introduce you to Logan Reese and Will Kipp. Welcome, guys.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, the reason we have two is because Bishop Connolly closed last year, and that was you, right, Logan?
Yes.
Right. What was that like? When you, I mean, did you? How much notice did you get that the school was closing?
So we originally found out March 17th. I remember the day like it was yesterday.
And they were closing in June?
Yes, we found out that June, I believe it was June 9th, would be our last day of school, and that's when we had, essentially, our students, that's when we had to be out of there, get everything out. So it was about 3 months where we basically tried to be like, okay, this is it, say goodbye, and wrap up as best as we could.
Right. Wow. And was it kind of a slap in the face, right? It's like, I only got one more year.
It definitely was an interesting dynamic between how we felt our feelings, because like you were saying, like one more year, and I would argue like the most important year, senior year, that's
right.
The year where you get to wrap everything up, say goodbye, and embrace the future. We kind of were already didn't have that time to wrap up and get closure. We were kind of just thrown into the future. So that was an interesting dynamic, I would say, but I think we all grew from it, definitely.
Did you have to look at options, or was your mind made up you were going to Stang?
So we received two essentially lifelines. One was to Bishop Stang, the other was to Bishop Fian. The principal from Bishop Stang, or president, I suppose, Mr. Benson, as well as our two vice principals, they essentially reached out and said, hey, we'll offer you the same tuition price that you were paying at Conley, as well as recognizing your achievements, the top 10, as well as any classes that you want to take. And Bishop Fian was essentially the same thing. So those two were definitely our top choices because there was the most to gain from it. And then some kids did go elsewhere. Some kids chose to go back into the public school system of either Fall River, Westport, or New Bedford, or Dartmouth. But I would say the vast majority of at least my class did go to Bishop Stang.
Okay, and now you're from Fall River?
Yes.
Yeah. Where'd you go to elementary school?
I went to elementary and I guess middle school because it was pre-K all the way to 8th grade at Holy Name, which is also in Fall River.
Okay. And Will, what about you? Where are you from?
I'm from Dartmouth, Mass.
From Dartmouth. Where did
Sir.
you go to elementary school and all that?
I went to Joseph DeMello Elementary
DeMello?
School and then Dartmouth Middle.
Okay. And then the switch to Bishop Stang. I guess I'll start with you first, Will. How's your experience been at Stang? Were you there for all 4 years?
I was there for all 4 years.
So your first year would be COVID, wouldn't it?
It was, yeah. So the first year was definitely interesting because, especially coming from the public school system, there were only a handful of us that came from Dartmouth Middle to Stang. So there was already that dynamic of kind of having to meet a bunch of new people. But then we came into school where we were only going in every other day. We were on Zoom. We had masks on. We couldn't really like interact with each other as much.
Right.
So having that transition being that so starkly different and knowing everyone to knowing essentially no one was definitely interesting. But I think Stang handled it pretty well because they kind of like, they encouraged us to interact in the ways that we could, whether it be like outside during mask breaks for about 15 minutes or talking to each other across 6-foot tables at lunch. And so that, it was tough, but it was definitely doable. And we didn't really all come together as a grade until I think it was March of our freshman year that we were all together.
Okay. And why did you make the decision to go to Stang? Was it a family connection? Or?
So my older sister was already there. She graduated 2 years before me. And so that was definitely a big part of it because she was really enjoying her experience there, and I kind of wanted to follow in her footsteps. But I also liked the idea of kind of shrinking down my class size a little bit, having faith really integrated into my schooling, and Stang really kind of felt like when I shadowed her or when I went to the open houses, it really felt like there was like a special like feeling of like connection and family there that I was really drawn to.
Right. Is it just your sister, or who do you have at home?
I have two younger sisters who are both now sophomores at Stang.
Okay.
And we live with our parents, my mom and my dad.
Nice. And Logan, what about you? What do you have at home for family?
It's me, my mom and dad. Right now, it's he actually just recently moved out, but my middle brother, older brother, and then he moved out a while ago, but also my older brother. Both of them also went to Bishop Connolly.
So you're the youngest?
Yes, I am the youngest.
What's the transition been like to Bishop Stang? Can you compare the two? It's probably not fair to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, we might be drawn to compare the two. I remember especially when we first heard the news, us knowing okay, we have to go into in a completely new environment and essentially bend to their rules. I say bend to their rules, but it's the diocesan schools. The rules are the same. Yeah. So that was definitely odd. I think that's the best way to say it. And in terms of comparing the two, I think we've kind of evolved to the point where it's not fair to compare the two, because they are, at the end of the day, two different schools with two different approaches.
Right.
But I think the more important thing, rather than comparing the two, is to see how we've evolved and adapted into a new environment, because I think Will would agree, both sides have changed from this ordeal, and we've kind of blended into a new Bishop Stang culture.
Yeah.
I'd say.
We don't have to get into details, but was there a rough patch at first?
I don't really think so. I think people expected there to be, maybe more so on your side than for us. I think, I can't speak for you guys, but you might have been a little nervous about how we were going to mingle. But now, I half the time can't remember who came from Connolly and who was already at Stang. Our classes feel pretty intertwined.
Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned the faith-based education was something for you. Was that important to you?
I would say that the main thing that I considered when choosing where I want to go to high school was the transition. For instance, my middle school, my class was of 28. I was really looking forward to a high school environment that mimicked that small community, because that's what I really wanted, was that community sense. So that's what ended up being the final decision between Conley and Stang for me, because when I was choosing, those were the two options on my table. But I ended up going with Conley because of the smaller class size and the, I suppose, ease of transfer. I wouldn't have to adapt or have to, I guess, deal with a larger class size, and I could just deal with the close people around me.
So how's this going to work with co-valedictorians? Are you both giving a speech? Are you speaking together? Has that been decided?
We're both giving separate speeches.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
And do you have to clear topics with it, because you don't want to say the same thing, right?
Right. I'm not sure. They haven't really told us yet. I think that's what we're talking about in the coming weeks. But I figure we'll make sure we don't give the exact same speech. We don't want to bore the people sitting there.
I read that June 6th is your graduation. After that, what are your plans for the future? Will, what about you?
I'll be attending the University of Virginia in the fall. Hoping to study commerce there.
Now, where is that?
That's in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Charlottesville.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And you're studying what?
Hopefully commerce.
Okay. And why the interest in that? What excites you about that?
Well, for the longest time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life.
Not unusual.
Right.
Yeah.
But the last few years, I've had a summer job where I go and I work on Nantucket. I caddy in this program called the Sanctity Head Caddy Program.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a really amazing program, and so they put us up there for the summer. We live in bunkhouses on the course.
Nice.
And we get to work caddying for the course, and a lot of the people that I ended up caddying for, who I really got to know, did study commerce, and they work in the business field, and so kind of learning from them and getting to know those types of people who are really driven and smart, but also generous with their time and their resources, really drew me towards that career. I think that that's somewhere that I feel like I can make a difference.
Nice. I know when people say, "Well, I'm going to study business," what does that mean?
Right.
So commerce, commerce the same, right? Could be anything.
Yeah. So they call their business school there the commerce school, but it's essentially the same as a business school, where you get a major in commerce, but you can focus in finance or management or entrepreneurship or kind of anything under that umbrella.
Okay. Logan, what about you? What are your plans for the future?
I'll be attending Boston University in the fall, studying psychology on the pre-med track.
Psychology on a pre-med track. So where do you hope to see that lead?
So I just like starting with the major. I knew I was gonna study psychology even since my freshman year. I suppose since middle school, I fell in love with the sciences, especially the mental health sciences of how the brain ticks.
Did that come from just interactions with people, wondering what makes people tick?
Almost, yeah. I was always like considered like the therapist friend, and granted, the therapist friend of middle school is no way related to like an actual clinical psychologist. I think like most of the advice I gave my friends would like actually ethically be banned.
But then again, if you succeed with middle school therapy, I
Well,
mean, that can say something about you.
Succeeding is a strong term for what I would say I did in middle
Okay.
school, but
All right.
but yeah, that definitely solidified my passion for the field, and understanding like what makes people tick, why we behave we do. I just fell in love with psychology as a science, and then pre-med, I've always been drawn to helping people, and I know that's like the cliche of the medical field, but I feel like especially in today's world where medicine is more so about the dollar signs versus actually helping people, I felt like combining my passion for psychology, treating people like individuals with actual conscious feelings instead of just their wallets that they represent.
Right.
I feel like that's the important need that we should bring to the medical field. And so with my practice, I hopefully plan on helping the low income community of Fall River, like almost not necessarily trust the medical system, because I don't think they have a distrust, but be able to say with confidence that they can go into it and not worry about breaking the bank.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourselves. We'll start with you, Will. What do you like to do when you're not in the classroom? You know, what are your interests?
Well, I play a lot of golf.
Okay. I was going to ask you that. Being a caddy, most
Right.
caddies play golf.
Yeah, most do. So I've been doing that for as long as I can remember with my dad. It's kind of a way we really connected. So I play a lot of golf. I like to play guitar. I'm on the lacrosse team at my school. I spend as much time as possible really outside, kind of with my friends, whether it be playing spike ball or pickleball or just going to the beach.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Logan, what about you? What do you like to do?
I love volleyball. I'm really excited for the warm weather coming up because that means beach volleyball season's coming back. Even though I don't really like beach volleyball because it's a lot more effort for me. Being
Does
only, like,
Stang
two
have
people.
a boys volleyball team?
They
I
do
can't remember.
not. So
They do not.
I did have to put it on the sideline my senior year, but
Connolly did?
Conley had a girls team, but I was able to play under Title IX. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah, did I understand there's a beach volleyball league around here? Does that happen in the summer?
I don't know if it's like a centralized league, but
Organized.
there's like a bunch of different like club organizations
Big
that have
groups,
their
yeah.
own like mini leagues. But yeah,
Are you? Does BU have a team? Are you?
BU does have a club volleyball team. I'm plan on trying out in the fall. Whether or not I make the team is another story. But intramural, I'll definitely be playing in college.
So what else do you like to do?
I've recently has found like a very, for some reason, like weird love for driving, which is so odd because I always hated being in the car.
A
but
weird love for driving.
yeah, just like I feel like it's different being behind the wheel of just like going down the highway, especially if like no one's around, like just open road. I feel like it's like so therapeutic, especially if you have some friends in the car, like good music. Like that's
Sure.
an entire hangout session
It's so
in
fair.
itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, Will, you're going to be on Nantucket again, I guess, this summer, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And Logan, what are your plans for the summer?
This summer, I recently was picked up by St. Vincent Services down in Fall River, and I'll be helping out in their emergency residence program for their kids. Essentially, they are a residence program for DCF kids who don't have either. With the emergency residence program, it's that DCF hasn't been able to find a next of kin for them to move in with,
Okay.
or like a sponsor to live with. So they come to us, and we essentially just provide them with care. You know, make sure their day is going well. During the school year, we help them with their homework. During the summer, which is where I'm going to be employed, we make sure they're being active, being healthy, things like that.
And last question for both of you: is there anyone you want to thank that really helped you in your time at Stang or your time at Stang or Connolly? Will, how about you? Is there anybody that really was there for you that it's time to say thank you?
I mean, I think that really everyone that has taught me in my 4 years there have really had my back and pushed me to be where I am today. So I'd like to thank all my teachers and my family especially for keeping me moving forward and keeping my head up and fighting through whatever adversity comes.
Right. Great. Logan, how about you?
Definitely.
You had a bit of a situation. You're coming from different schools. And
Granted, like, no matter what, my STANG teachers have been absolutely phenomenal, not only in continuing with the rigorous education that I expected, but providing that caring environment. So definitely for the transfer, I definitely want to thank all of my teachers at STANG, the faculty, the administration, definitely, because I think they were really the ones that made that transition easier. However, I think the teacher that played the biggest role in my life, I would say, is my junior year AP US History and AP Government and Politics teacher and AP Seminar teacher. He had a lot on his plate, but he managed. Because he was the first teacher that kind of gave me the reality check of, you are one of many kids in this world that if you want to succeed, you have to show people that you can succeed. One of the things, last things like he told us before, like that last day came, was make sure you show them what you are and who you are and what you can do. And I think that advice is the most important piece of advice I've ever been given, to know no matter what situation I am, to express myself and be myself and show everyone else what I can do. I think that is the most principal guiding factor that I know for a fact I'm taking with me for the next 4 years.
I hope we can reconnect in a couple of years. I was thinking about this today when I was on a walk. We've done these interviews with the valedictorians going back at least, 5, 8 years. And maybe I'll make it a point this summer to try to reconnect, to see
What everyone's doing.
how they make out.
Yeah,
Because
right.
I ask this question every year. What do you plan to do with your future? They all have an answer.
Yeah.
But as someone who raised 4 kids, who changed majors a few times,
Right.
you may not end up where you're thinking right now. Maybe someplace totally different, totally great. So
Yeah.
I hope we can do that. And best of luck to you, and good luck with your speeches on the 6th, and enjoy the last few weeks of your senior year.
Thank you very much.
Our next guest is Faiza Rahman, who is the valedictorian from Greater New Bedford Regional Vocational Technical High School. Faiza, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And you were just telling me, we are recording this near the end of May. You were just telling me that today was your last full day, huh? Tomorrow you sign out?
Yep, it went by really fast.
I was going to ask you that, because a lot of times people get to their senior year or they get to graduation and those 4 years just flew by.
Yeah, it really did flow by. And I don't think it's like really hit me yet, like that I'm never going to be going back there ever again.
Right. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
My parents are from Bangladesh, but
Okay.
I was born in Brockton.
Brockton?
Yeah.
All right. And what brought you to, did you go to elementary school and middle school in Brockton?
No, my parents opened a business in New Bedford, so we moved here. And then I went to elementary school at Charles Ashley Elementary
Okay.
School. And
Yeah.
then for middle school, I went to Holy Family Holy Name.
Okay. And what led you to go to Greater New Bedford Voc Tech?
It was like definitely the most affordable option, and it's like very close to my house. And it had the shop that I wanted, programming and web development. That's what I've been wanting to do since I was in middle school. So, yeah.
What have you always been interested in computers?
Yeah, like I've always been interested in it for like the money side of it, because like it's a really like lucrative field, and also because I like it too.
What are you planning to do after Voc? Are you going to pursue your education more in computers?
Yeah, I'm planning to go to UMass Dartmouth and major in computer science.
And what do you hope to do when you're all done with school? What career do you hope to go into? Because there's so many options.
Yeah, there really is so many options. I hope to become a software engineer for like a good company. Like I don't want to be like supporting like a company that's doing like immoral things or whatever.
Okay.
Like I want to make sure that the company that I work for supports like my morals and values and stuff. And yeah.
And when you say you want to go into computer engineering, what does that mean? What would you actually be doing? Building websites or cybersecurity or?
Well, like, there's a lot of different fields to computer science. Like, there's web development, cybersecurity, software engineering. So as a software engineer, I would be working on like the back end of websites where like programming them to like make all the like, functions of the website work. So like when you click on a link and like it starts to like hover or change color,
right?
Like that's what those types of things I would work on.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a guy who has a website but can really only understand WordPress, you're the person I call, right, when things don't work.
Yeah.
And how many times do you sit there going, oh, this again?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's, what do they call it? Operator error, right? I pressed the wrong key somewhere.
Yeah, it's like very small.
So tell me about, now you mentioned that it's important to you that the company you work for represent your moral values. Where did that come from? Did that come from home? Did that come from mom and dad?
I mean, no, not really, but like I noticed that there's like a lot of companies that like I don't know if I'm allowed to like name drop company like
Sure.
like Raytheon and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like they build like military weapons and things like that, and like their work definitely does contribute to like the harm
The military,
of
right.
yeah, the military and the
So
harm
that's
of a lot
something
of
you wouldn't want to do.
yeah. So
Right.
that's something I wouldn't want to do because I don't want my work to like contribute to harming innocent
I can
civilians.
understand that. I can respect that.
Yeah.
Tell me about your time at Voctech. Were you involved in activities or clubs or sports?
Yeah, I wasn't able to do much because like I had to watch my brother at home.
Okay.
But I did do Business Professionals of America in my sophomore year, and I competed in Excel spreadsheets, and I won 3rd place at the states level. And then I did National Honor Society, and I'm still in it.
We did a show this year about BPA. I had never known about it. One day I was on the website, and I went to activities, I think it is, and I just saw what was available, and I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. And it's really, it reminded me a lot of a sports team, because you really do have to work together.
Yep.
And you compete.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be the thing with everyone I talked to in BPA. They
Yeah.
loved competing.
Yeah, it's a big like competitive thing. Like that's what I really obsessed over. I was like, I need to get that medal and that place. So, yeah.
Okay, so graduation, I understand, is June 7th. And have you thought about your speech? Did they give you any parameters or? What do you
Yeah, I just finished it and got it approved. Yeah, I'm ready to say it in front of the crowd.
Is this the first time you've been in front of a large crowd with a speech?
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you feel heading into that?
Like super, super nervous.
But do you have a theme that you can tell us about, or?
I kind of talked about like living life in the moment, and like because our life is like temporary, so let's try to like uphold the positive values instead of bringing up the negative.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned taking care of your brother at home. Who do you have at home? Do you have a large family or what?
No, it's just me, my mom, and my brother.
Okay. Super. So you're going to go to UMass Dartmouth in the fall, you said, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And would that be your only college, or would you advance to another, or?
I don't know. I think I might just stay there because it's easier. Maybe I'll consider like transferring to somewhere else.
Right. Tell me about your time at Vogue. You must have a lot of memories. Did they all come flooding back this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it difficult going to the, I know the, typical class schedule at Vogue is so many days in the classroom, so many days in your shop.
Yeah.
Was that a difficult adjustment in your, well, you started in the COVID year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it was that difficult for me. Like I was able to adjust pretty quickly.
Do you have a favorite subject in the what do they call it? The classroom part, the education part?
Yeah, I think my favorite subject is probably math or English. It's
I was going to guess math, Because of the computer, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of math involved in
Yeah,
computer
definitely.
technology, isn't there? Yeah. So, and also English, you said.
Yeah, also English.
Looking back on your time at Vogue, what would you say to someone who might be watching, trying to decide, should I go to Vogue? Should I go to New Bedford High? Should I go to Dartmouth? What? Sell me on Vogue.
Okay. Well, Vogue definitely has a really good vocational program. It definitely, like, I'm going to be honest with you, it definitely does lack a little bit in the academic department.
Okay.
But in their like vocational program, it's like really amazing. And like if you want to pursue something and like in your trade and you're looking to like just pursue your trade right after high school, then that's like definitely the place that you want to
Okay.
go.
I have also learned that, what is it, your first year, you go around to various shops, right?
Yeah, exploratory.
Now, were you always sold on computer technology, or did something else interest you, or did you lean a certain way?
I was like kind of tied between like engineering and robotics
Okay.
and electrical engineering. Like I kind of always liked that like engineering, like science, STEM field. But yeah, I ended up going for computer science, programming and web development.
Now, let me ask you, because you're closer to it, you deal with it. Should I be afraid of AI? I keep hearing or seeing articles, or there's plenty of TikToks saying, "Oh, AI is coming." I've also heard from people who are successful in this world who say it's a tool. It's something that's going to help you get better. So,
Yeah.
what is your opinion on artificial intelligence?
Yeah, there's definitely a good and bad side to it. Like, I think it's definitely a way that can like revolutionize like a lot of fields like medicine and things like that, and can do a lot of good, but to a limit. Like I don't want it to like invade in other people's lives and stuff
Right.
like that.
I saw a news story once where someone was using AI to write a song,
Yeah.
and I thought that's not good.
Yeah, it's very common like in school, like people will use it to write essays and things like that. So it's a big problem in our
It sounds
school.
like cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked you this before we started because I didn't want to hit you with a cold. Is there anyone you'd like to thank that helped your journey, whether it be a teacher, administrator, mom, whatever?
I definitely want to thank my mom because she worked really hard to like support me through my education. And also want to thank my guidance counselors because they definitely helped like steer me on the right path. And my teachers for everything they taught me throughout high school.
Nice. Well, best of luck to you, and I hope I mentioned this earlier in the show to Logan and Will from Bishop Stang. I hope you don't mind if I reach out in a couple of years to see how did it work out, because I know with my own kids, I know that majors change. You have an idea going into your freshman year of college, this is what I want, but then something else comes up and you switch. So I think it would be great if we could revisit. Maybe we'll have a round table with all the past valedictorians.
Yeah.
So best of luck to you. Hope you have got a graduation party planned.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right. Mom's over there. I can talk to Mom. Okay. Thank you so much. Faiza Rahman?
Yep.
Okay. Congratulations on being the class valedictorian from Greater New Bedford Regional Vocational Technical High School.
Thank you.
Which is a mouthful. Best of luck to you. That'll do it for this edition of Classroom Chronicle. I always love meeting the valedictorians, and I wish them the best. Until next time, I'm Pete Braley. Take care.